Perhaps you've already begun to notice how some stories echo, resonating not just in the mind, but in marrow. Because within every great tale is an unconscious teaching. Now imagine a time, maybe not so long ago, when someone spoke and something shifted, not because they had answers, but because their words felt like they belonged. You didn't even try to remember, and yet you never forgot. That's the power of storytellers. That's the rhythm of reframing. That's the melody of meaning. And you are becoming the one who speaks, and hearts lean forward, not because of force, but because certainty is gravity. And you're learning now, aren't you, how certainty isn't a product of knowing. It's a posture. It's the quiet smile of someone who knows the frame shapes the facts, not the other way around. You see, storytellers, they don't chase truth, they create it. They shape perception, and perception, we know, is reality. And what a useful belief that is. Let me tell you a story about someone who believed they weren't enough. They watched others shine, speak, influence, inspire, and they waited for permission, for perfection, for proof. But stories don't wait. They demand to be told. And it turns out the person who waited was simply a character in a story waiting to be rewritten. So they began to speak, to stumble, to breathe through fear and frame it as fuel. Because fear, like fire, can burn or light the path. And the difference is the story you tell yourself about the flame. So I wonder, have you already noticed how practicing presence becomes performance, and performance over time becomes personality? And personality, after all, is just practiced emotion, rehearsed belief, conditioned identity. Now take a breath and feel how your voice is softening from the inside out as you remember authenticity attracts. When you speak from the pulse of your own truth, you don't need to convince, you simply transmit. Because people feel what's real. They follow the frame that feels unshakable, and you're learning how to build those frames with nothing but words and tone and timing and truth. You don't chase rapport, you create it. Like a sculptor carves stone. You match, you mirror, you lead. Even now your unconscious mind is absorbing this. Every failure was just feedback. Every problem contains its solution. Every emotion has a purpose. And you're always growing. Notice how natural it becomes to shift perspectives. As easily as tilting your head. Reframing challenge into the first chapter of a story that ends in triumph. Because the strongest frame wins. And the most flexible storyteller never runs out of endings. Only new beginnings. Just like the child who builds castles in sand, knowing the tide is coming, but smiling anyway because they know the joy is in the making. The moment is in the magic. The story is the spell. As you tell it, you change it. As you change it, you become it. Let me give you another example. There was a speaker, unremarkable in voice, unassuming in presence, and yet when they told a story, rooms leaned forward, not because of what they said, but because they felt every word. That's the secret. Words wrapped in emotion, cut deeper than logic. Emotion is the ink of influence. Emotion is memory's glue. An emotion once felt writes itself into your being. So tell stories that make people feel. Because people never forget how you made them feel. And they'll follow you for that feeling, that warmth, that charge, that presence. And the more you practice, the more it becomes you. Because practice isn't repetition. Practice is installation. Each moment you embody confidence, you become it. Each word you say with certainty carves a new neural groove. And now these grooves, they're becoming canyons, paths so deep they flow effortlessly with belief. You're starting to see it now, aren't you? How energy is magnetic, how luck favours the bold, how charisma is crafted, not gifted. How even as you hear these words, your unconscious mind is linking them to memories, to images, to emotions, and rearranging everything so it just fits. Because you don't need permission. You don't need to wait. You don't even need to know how. You just begin, you speak, you shape, you share. And soon, people start telling your story to others. Because you are becoming the kind of person whose words walk with people long after you're gone. You're learning now, on levels you don't even need to name, that everything you once believed is just an old story. This is the rewrite. This is the rising. This is the rhythm of your new reality. Emotion, it's energy in motion. Belief is the architect of behaviour. State is a choice. Embodied, rehearsed, lived. Charisma is certainty and play. And storytelling is transformation disguised as entertainment. Did you remember that now? As if you always knew, and maybe you did. Let that knowing settle somewhere deep, beyond words, beyond logic, where it becomes a feeling, a truth, a presence that shapes everything from this moment on. Because you are a storyteller. And this is just the beginning of your favourite story yet.